the screen. It might fuck with my frame rate, but it is what it is, I guess, Doug. It is what it is, G. Let me see. Make sure it's still on. Oh, I'm about to say, where's the kick at? I know I downloaded it. I know I have it with me. Your GPB. You already know, G. All right, there we go. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. All right, we're back. We're back. My fault. Said, hey, love your content. I can help you hit 1K followers, 700 viewers. Nah, I'm good, bro. Fuck that, dude. Facts, bro. Alright, we're back, though. Bro, for some reason, my fucking OBS won't let me minimize the screen. So I know for a fact it's gonna fuck with my frame rate when I'm playing Fortnite. But, you know, it is what it is, G. It is what it is. I might just put 60 frame rate, 60 FPS. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Either way, we're just fucking playing for the vibes, you know what I'm saying? We're not pro players. We don't need 240 FPS. You know what I'm saying, bro? But, yo, how's your week been, bro? Everything good? You been staying active? You been doing what you gotta do, bro? Hey, let's see. We gotta play some Fortnite OG Zero build. Let's go. Hell yeah, bro. Are you right, though? Like I said, fuck that Woco guy. Facts, though. I don't even know who the fuck that guy is. Nah, let's see. Oh, my... What's going on with my chat? Is it gonna pop up or not? My week's been good, bro. No school Friday or Monday. Let's go. Hey, really, bro? Is it a holiday or something? Did I miss something? Like I said, I don't keep up with holidays, bro. I haven't been in school in like 10 years. I wouldn't know, bro. You know what I'm saying? What holiday is it, bro? Is it a holiday or is it just a professional development day? I remember when they had that shit, you know what I'm saying? When the teachers had to come in and we didn't have to. President's Day. Oh, shit. We gotta celebrate El Presidente Trumpo, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Where's she? No, the real question is, what are we dropping, bro? You know what? Wherever fate tells us to drop, we will drop.
We build the whole thing like the Riviera with beautiful homes, and we bring them back in. Not all of them. And then we're going to make it this beautiful place, and it's just
my
like,
nigga Abe in Washington.
You're not excited to say Maragaza?
My nigga Penny and my nigga Dollar, you know what I'm saying?
Very excited.
You know what's funny is,
Oh shit, can't be wrong, bro. Can't go wrong with the president, Abe, and Washington. One of the double, triple OGs, you know what I'm saying?
Say it.
If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have this fucking nation, brother. That's for sure.
In a sea of something.
It means from the sea to the lagoon.
Oh.
Mar-a-Lago.
Okay.
Yes.
So the two bodies of
It's
water
in Spanish,
that you have,
Mar-a-Lago.
Lagoons.
you have in Palm Beach, you have it's like
Please.
this strip, and then you have the ocean.
Please, let there be
And
something
so
here.
Mar-a-Lago is
From the lagoon to the sea.
Yes.
From the lagoon, well, it's from the sea to the lagoon, Mar-a-Lago. And of course, we know that there is a similar phrase in
There's something here.
in this area, at least.
Yeah.
From the,
Are you looking at
from
me
the
to say
river.
it?
That's
That is a
Oh, what the fuck?
You put up Maragaza. And I was like, that's actually pretty funny because the contrast of Mar-a-Lago is beauty. I mean, we live in a simulation, don't we? You have, from the ocean to the lagoon, this beautiful property of
Let's see if we
opulence
can get something over
and
here.
American spirit and success and nobility. And then you have this phrase of the far-left activists from the river to the sea, which represents destruction, war, conflict, and pain.
The simulation is real. The Super Bowl, in the Super
Murder.
Bowl, the Bald Eagles destroyed the Native American themed team, the Chiefs. And it was just like pure American propaganda. Simulation theory, what's the dude? It's so
It was
real.
also the team Trump
okay.
endorsed.
Keep looking for symbolism.
He endorsed the which one?
The
I don't
Chiefs.
think so.
Oh.
Trump was there for the Chiefs. He's like, I am fully team Chiefs, and the Eagles haven't gotten, as far as I know, they have not gotten their invite to the White House yet.
Wow.
And they're like, well, maybe go if he invites us.
I gotta say, Ian, it is
Oh,
a
come
funny
on, really?
idea that the Chiefs were crushed by the
Bro, I'm
Eagles.
trying to
And they're
fucking-
literally, that's a bald eagle on their helmet.
I
Right.
try to snipe
Type
him,
of
bro.
bald eagle.
We live in a simulation, and not
It's true.
because of any of this, but because of quantum entanglement.
Dude, I wonder if we keep reliving this life. Like every time we're born again, it's this constantly this one over and over and over and over. And there's always the history. There's always but it's always this. I don't.
No, the reason I'd say no is because if you take a look at static on a TV, it would probably be nigh infinite iterations of reality. I do think it's probably likely that time is
There we go, let's go.
circuitous of sorts.
Bro, I was
that
just trying to
occurs
fucking
in
snipe him,
itself.
bro, to be honest.
That means that
I didn't give a shit about anything else. I just wanted to
one
snipe
theory
his
is
ass, but I
that
couldn't.
as time goes forward, eventually it wraps
Who's that?
all
Who's
the
that?
way
Who's
back
that?
around, but that doesn't
Oh,
mean
shit.
it's a single loop. It is a multidimensional fabric, so every time it wraps back around on itself, it's in a different shape, twisted in a different way, with different iterations of itself.
Well, that makes sense with like the statistic. Oh my gosh, I couldn't speak. The statistics of probability that the way that the particles arrange in the universe, there's
Bro, I'm
only
trying to
so
snipe
many
someone
ways
right
that
in
it
the
can be
face, bro.
arranged. It's
That's
like
my goal right
building
now.
a Lego set or
That's the
something
goal.
like that, so you can make different ways. But eventually,
Ooh,
in
bro, did you
every
know
whatever
Pesos-
number, universe, or
Peso
probability,
bet
it will be
10K on the
rearranged
Eagles.
just like it is
We
now,
win
but
by
like
7
a little
points, you got
different.
20
Like
back.
maybe
Nah, for
you
real?
have Ian's hair.
That's
and
crazy,
you
bro.
wear a beanie in another
You have to be
realm.
connected to know that fucking
I mean,
outcome,
that's
bro.
the easiest
That's
way to
just
describe
nutty.
it. In another
Wes
version
trying to
of
make it
reality.
simple. You're talking
which is-
quantum physics over here. I'm like, hey, people.
How much you
this
put
is
on
a
there, bro?
simple
10 bucks?
way to understand.
In another universe, there's
I
literally
don't put any money on the Eagles, bro.
nothing.
I was gonna, yo, honestly,
Or just like versions of this, but with different.
I almost.
that's
Like,
Anna,
it's different
different.
Not gonna
variations.
lie,
There's
I almost put down
probabilistic
$100
multidimensional
bucks
theory, which,
on the Eagles,
states
bro.
that for every probabilistic
I almost
outcome,
just put $100
a
bucks on the
new
Eagles
reality
just
branches
to
off
say
from
fuck it.
I don't know if I believe
should've. I
that
should've, bro.
idea. Some people don't believe any. Some people think there's a singular, one true timeline, whatever, and time travel's not a thing, and whatever. Probably more faith-based individuals would probably think that. I don't know. We think we know a lot. Humans actually know very little, so who knows? We can make cell phones, but we can't map time, so. But the craziest thing, though, is I do recommend, if you are interested any of the time, read as much about gravity as you can.
Yep.
Because it is mind-bending.
Oh, really?
People don't understand how mind-bending it is. So I'll give you a simplified version. Two bodies on a curved object moving in the exact same, moving forward, eventually will intersect. So that is, take a globe and put, two people at the same latitude and have them move south. Eventually, they will intersect. Depending on the distance between them, they may intersect at the South Pole, because south to you may be one way to another, but once you get to the bottom, south is one direction. Hence, they have that riddle where you say you're in a cabin where every window has southern exposure, and a bear approaches. What color is the bear? And it's supposed to be a riddle. I guess it's not really a good one. And then everyone goes, "How am I supposed to know the color of the bear is?" Because if the windows only have southern exposure, that means you're at the South Pole. Or it's no, I'm sorry, you're at the North Pole.
Fair enough.
window's
That's
pointing
crazy, bro.
south. That means
He
you are
said,
literally
nigga, I
at the
put
North Pole
50
in
on the
every direction
Chiefs.
south.
I didn't get my
There's
money
no east and
back.
west.
Damn,
So the bear's
bro.
gonna be white, right?
Other way around. Brown.
Yo, that's crazy
Quarters
because
are in the south.
I got
So if
one
your
of the
window's
one
pointing
out of the
north, it'd
two
be a white bear.
UFC fights
Polar bears are in the south.
I put
Yeah.
money on. I got that one.
Yes.
And then I
Yes,
was like,
I'm
all
gonna-
right.
I'm gonna-
So I got my money
on
back
that
on one of the
final
UFC
answer.
fights,
You are
and then I
wrong.
was like, I should put
Yeah, I'm
$100
pretty sure you're
bucks
wrong
on
about
the
that one.
Chiefs.
Like, polar bears
But
live
then
in the
obviously the
North
odds
Pole. I
were
feel
like,
that's their
eh,
whole
Polar bears
shitty.
are north, not south.
Like that's
So something told me,
Anyway, North
just
Pole.
put 100
Anyway, I digress.
on the fucking Eagles.
So one
Fuck
of the
it.
simple ways people.
Yeah, you're
And I
right.
forgot
I
to.
was wrong.
And then when they
With
won, I
such
was like,
confidence.
oh shit.
So
Let's see
we
how much
are
I
going
made.
back to
And of
talking
course,
about, like, actual news in a
I didn't
second,
even put
but
the
I do
fucking
wanna
bet
mention
down,
this
bro.
because
So
I'm
shit
watching
was,
this really interesting
it was
video
ass, bro.
described.
I woke
Easiest
up in
way
a
to
bad
understand
mood. You already know.
gravity is that we are moving forward on a curved dimensional axis that is time, and we don't perceive it as movement. We perceive it as time. But the reason there's gravity is because two objects on a curved
It's a bot.
curved space
It's a bot.
moving in a forward direction will eventually intersect. That's what gravity
That's
is.
so badass.
When I was in high school, I studied multidimensional probabilities of different dimensions, and we learned all of that. And it actually brought up the religious thing. It actually, like, proves in a way it lines up. It's a time where science and religion line up, because for my language in the Torah, when Jews got the original Torah, it says that they were at a higher dimension, and that God read all 10 commandments at once, and that the Jewish people at that time, they weren't officially Jews, the people of Israel were very scared, and they all like passed out, and they're like, Moses, please read it to us. We are so terrified. You read it to us. And the punishment for that was God dropped them down a dimension. And that makes sense with the time. Like, how could you listen to 10 things read at once, or even say 10 things at once? It doesn't make sense. But when you look at time not on a linear path when like from a higher dimension, it all happens at once.
Right. If from a higher dimension, time could appear as though you're looking down a road.
Yeah. If you can see a bunch of different options, they're all called spines. Like if I choose to wear a red dress or a blue dress, that's a whole different path in my life. And a higher dimension being like an angel or God, which is much higher, can see all of those at once. So that's
Makes
where
sense.
it comes like free will versus God's plan.
Imagine you're looking outside of the fourth dimension, which we would consider to be time, and they can see you, Ian, from your point of birth to your point of death, and they can choose to go to any point in your life and intervene and then see how that changes and then go to this point, then go back and change it again.
I think that's the fifth dimension. It's like an infinite wave
It
of
is.
possible timelines.
Called spines, like each individual thing, like your back, like a spine.
It opens
and that's
up.
what I've always understood is free will, where God can see all the different paths in your life that you could take, but you
That's crazy. Free will and seeing God. Like, bro, when I did, when I, in-game did mushrooms and shit, right? I saw people's souls. And every decision they took, it was literally their soul opening up a different dimension and a different possibility and outcome based on what they decided. It's crazy. Like, you literally see the Kabbalah. It's this weird fucking shape that is apparently in the Torah, or I don't know, in the Kabbalah, whatever it is. It represents the soul of a human being, of a person, whatever it is. I didn't know this at the time, but what I saw is, you know, this person making decisions in their head and thinking things through, and then every time they chose something in their head to make a reality, that soul would open up and create a different reality. Like, time would open up, and it would just like show you this reality, that reality, and bruh, I lost my fucking mind. I thought I went insane. You know what I mean? Where is my lighter? It's okay. Anyways, let's go back to the video, dog. I don't know if you can hear the audio.
paths in your life that you could take, but you can choose exactly which one you will take. So you don't have complete free will, you don't have a probability that God never thought of or could never foresee, but you can still choose within that. And it's just a cool way where science and religion actually prove each other and work together.
Let's jump to this next story. We have a tweet from our good friends over at Politico. You know we love Politico.
Yeah.
And they wrote this. Analysis. How Democrats were tricked into believing the economy was strong, writes former U.S. Comptroller Eugene Ludwig. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Democrats were tricked. Why not Republicans? Let me just pause real quick and let's let that ruminate a little
They
bit.
didn't believe it.
Why is it that the people who supported Trump during the 2024 cycle knew the economy was bad? Why is it that Trump won the popular vote, indicating the majority of the country voted Republican? And how were Democrats tricked? There is a conundrum here in this story. Now, the first thing I want to say is, just to get to the meat and potatoes here, Politico mentions, when you go all the way down, basically, if you actually take all the numbers, the real unemployment under Joe Biden was 23.7.
That's crazy.
People weren't making money, they didn't have jobs. But this does present us with a question. I understand that the average person would go to the grocery store and say, wow, everything's expensive and I can't buy anything. Thus, they were not tricked. And they said, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. Well, the media kept saying that the economy was better than ever. So the question then becomes, how is it that Democrats avoided going to grocery stores, or at the very least, when they did, they were unfazed by the prices? The answer, of course, is simple. The Democratic Party is the party of the upper class and the wealthy, and they do not care about things like, can you afford food? And it's important to understand this because that means today, when they're saying, why aren't the prices going down, Trump? They don't care, and they never cared. That's how they were tricked. Because when Don Lemon asked the guy on the boardwalk in Atlantic City why he was voting for Trump, the guy says the economy. Don Lemon said, actually, the economy is good. And the guy laughed. Because the guy is like, bro, I went to the grocery store. Okay, I can't afford, butter was $7.
Oh, you want-
and Don Lemon's like, I don't know how much butter costs. He didn't literally say that. I'm using the hypothetical. But you had that MSNBC moment where Mika Brzezinski said to Scarborough, butter $7. And he goes, wait, what? And she goes, yeah, it's $7. And he goes, what is it, covered in gold? Why, who's buying that? And it's like, Joe, it is $7. But you see, what Joe revealed in that moment was he doesn't go grocery shopping. He probably asks Consuela to do it for him, and then he complains that Trump is taking his indentured servants away because they're all racists.
He probably also doesn't eat butter, soy only. Seed oils only.
Soy margarine.
Yeah, but this is the greatest gaslighting campaign in modern history, telling us for years everything's great, everybody's employed, the groceries are so affordable, everybody has jobs, everything's great, we're great. And we all said, I literally go to the grocery store, I make good money, I work a hard job. Why is everything still so expensive for me? Why does $100 get me half a bag of groceries in New York City? You have to spend hundreds of dollars a month. Takeout has become cheaper than purchasing groceries. Like, it's gotten so out there, out of control, and this is just another leg of that, trying to gaslight us. Oh, they didn't know. They were tricked. No, we know that they knew, because there's no way, as you said, there's no way to not know. It's everywhere around you. It's the gas prices. It's buying anything. Shipping prices. Things on Amazon. I just went skiing. I bought these ski pants that I had bought a year before. Literally, this time last year, $44. This year, $84.
Oh my gosh.
Doubled in price in a year, but we're being told it's the best economy in modern history. Joe Biden is literally our king. Everybody kiss his feet.
Yeah, the price increase that the average person saw. I mean, so I'm gonna band it that we go on tour and like we'll go ahead and rent a bus. We have crew. We did a tour in 2022 and it cost X amount of dollars, and we did a tour roughly the same amount of time, and the cost of the bus was almost double because of gas. When it comes to get like gas, the cost of renting hotels for your bus driver, the cost for the actual bus drivers. It is incredibly hard for bands to go out and actually make a good living when you've got so much overhead. We're a pretty well established band. We go out, we make good money and stuff. But still, like, it's
honestly,
like when you go out for
they should add a bunch of people to Fortnite, bro.
There's a bunch of people that X amount of dollars. They had guarantees on the most recent tour that were better than the last one.
How haven't they added Rey Mysterio,
came home with about the same amount of money.
And then they tell you, just make more money.
Yeah.
Just
to
make
play
more
duos
money.
with someone random, I got you, bro.
To a band
I'll do
like
the next
us,
one.
it's like,
I got you, bro.
there's only so much money that you want to
Say no
charge
more.
tickets. It's like people have
I love
to
how
come
my wife
to
just
the
came
shows.
through and dropped the
And when
beanie
you've
on me
got
real quick, the
your
Pokemon
tickets
beanie on top of my fucking hat already.
$30 or $40, and then there's Ticketmaster fees,
oh, yeah.
and parking's $20, and then if
fuck it,
people
we're going
are
to
there,
Tilted, bro.
If you got more than one person going, like a dude goes with his girlfriend or whatever, you got 2 tickets,
nigga said
and
call
then
the
a
nigga
couple
too. I
beers
can't,
are
bro.
going to cost you, I don't
calling
know,
my nigga,
$7
like, yo, my
each,
nigga,
$8
what's
each,
poppin',
I don't know,
G?
depending on where. I mean,
Told us.
in New
Yeah,
York,
getting
it's going to be
$12
$20
like $20 at Yankee Stadium minimum.
But the thing is, like, that stuff adds up, and it's like, look, man, when you're playing heavy metal, you're playing to blue collar people, and when you're competing with staying home and watching Netflix, like, or staying home and playing Xbox, or just scrolling on TikTok, like, it's real hard to get people out if your prices are too high. So it's super competitive anyways, or the overhead's super high anyways, and then when you've got throw in all the things that the average concert goer has to pay for, it's really hard to convince people to come out. You have to have a really good reason to get people off the couch. So
it's like that guy who sang Old Men, Richmond, north of Richmond, that song that went super viral, Oliver. He came out, he's like, I want to have super cheap tickets, I don't want anybody to have to pay so much, and then all of the concert venues were like, we are not, like, we cannot afford to have this, we will lose money if we have you at this ticket price. And he had like a whole thing, the system's broken, but it's just how it works nowadays. There's such high overhead costs.
Right. With all due respect to that guy, I don't know, did he quit or something?
I don't know what happened to him.
But there's a lot of people who are very naive.
Yeah.
And I was one of them getting into the industry. I say that Allison and I, not a day goes by, we don't look at each other and go, oh, so that's why corporations do that. So my response to all of you guys, when you're mad at your company for having some wacky policy, it's the government. Companies will take the path of least resistance. They don't care. And so that means when you have a weird HR policy and they're like, you got to watch these weird harassment videos, the company doesn't want to pay for that. I guarantee you they don't want to pay for it, but they have to because of government regulation. Because if they don't do it, then they're open to liability, then the insurance companies drop them, and it's because of government requirements typically.
In addition to what you were saying about the Democratic Party being the party of the wealthy and them sending their servants to shop, maybe their bill went up $100, but they don't really know why exactly, just whatever. I think there's this phenomenon of cognitive dissonance in the plebs and the people that aren't the wealthy, the people that are making $50,000, $40,000, $30,000 a year, whatever, they're told one thing on TV and they're unable to break that spell. They're stuck believing what they were told the first time. Like, it's easier to some people say, like, it's easier to like, the first thing you hear, it's harder to disbelieve a lie, and there's a way of expressing it. But like, once you've heard it before someone else has come and told you the opposite, it's like you've ingrained it. And so they're just like, but the TV said that the economy's fine.
It breaks their reality.
Yeah.
That's a lot of it. Like, admitting that Trump's doing good, it breaks their idea that he's this racist, fascist, horrible Nazi figure. Like, they can't acknowledge it because it will destroy everything. This is their identity for them. This isn't for us. Like, we all have our beliefs, and then we have a bunch of other things that we care about and we're passionate about, like skateboarding and acting and music. Like, we all have so much more to politics, but these people, their entire life, identity, sense of self-worth relies on being considered on the right side of history, good, moral codes.
20, bro.
That's a really great point, because
Not
a lot
good.
of these people consider themselves activists.
Yeah.
They think of themselves as activists, so they don't stop doing this, right? Like, it's the way
all
they
day
live.
long.
Oh,
So-
man.
And that's one of the things that the conservatives generally, why the conservatives are generally behind the eight ball.
I didn't know there were
because
only 6
conservatives
people
are out
left.
doing
I
things
would have
in
actually
the
tried to
real
win.
world that are not
crazy.
associated with politics or
Homie
winning
said,
the next
bro, my
election
white
or
friend
whatever.
said it
If
hard,
your-
our
if
ones.
your
Oh my
entire
God.
self-image
I
is
can't,
based
bro.
on the fact that you consider yourself an activist, that means that for
Hold on.
recreation,
Let's get that
you're gonna
duo
do
game you
this
asked
kind
for,
of
bro.
stuff.
There's a reason why they say that
like nobody has
you know,
mics either, bro.
once you start running a business, you become conservative. Once you get your first paycheck, you know, you're a young progressive idealist. I describe it like this: that there's ways to draw distinctions between the left and the right. And there's many different ways. One of them is a point I made last week. I went to there's a local car dealership, and I was talking to one of the sales guys, and we were talking business stuff, and I asked like, how much revenue do you guys do per month at at one dealership? And he goes, oh, just over $1 million. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I run a business. I don't know what that means. That means that they've got to pay each porter, they got to pay each salesperson. The salesperson's going to get a commission. They have to. So $1 million. What's their margin though? 5%, meaning basically all the money comes in, goes right
Like I
out to
said,
sustain and
I'm gonna
support.
go groom a
and-
dog because I love
get
grooming
the
dogs. All
infrastructure.
right, bro, do it up, bro.
But I
Hopefully they
guarantee
pay
you,
you
if you
well.
go
You
to
know
a
what I'm saying?
leftist
Make
activist
sure
and said,
that
did you
dog
know
looks
that
great.
every month that car
Hopefully you're
dealership
talking
makes
about
$1
that
million?
grooming. You're talking
They're
about
gonna
different
go,
grooming.
$1 million?
The fuck outta here, bro.
That's wrong. The government should take it. Nobody should make that
You
much money.
sick
And you're like,
fuck.
they're
Leave the
paying for
dogs
electricity,
alone,
they're paying
bro.
for plumbing, they're paying for
They
their
can't
merchandise,
consent.
they're paying
What's
for
wrong
their,
with you?
which is the
I'm
vehicles,
kidding.
they're paying their staff, they're paying the
Alright.
people who clean.
I know
These
you
young
wouldn't do that
liberal
to an animal,
leftists,
man.
like I
Animals are
guarantee you,
innocent,
if you
man.
talk to like David
Animals
Hogg, he
deserve
would not know
love,
these
G.
things. He'd be like, huh?
Great.
It's
Animals
altruism.
are
That's what I
great,
think
man.
it
Like,
comes down to.
my
It's
dogs were,
individualism
like,
versus altruism. They
the
believe
best thing possible,
we
man.
have a
It brings me so much
responsibility for
happiness,
each
you know
other.
what
A
I'm
lot
saying?
of this was popularized during COVID. Like, it's my job to make sure that you're healthy. No, it's not. It's my job to make sure I'm healthy.
Hey,
Your
what's
health is
going
your
on?
problem. It's not my job. And I think that's just so deeply ingrained in a lot of these fellow Gen Z folks.
I would not call them
friends and
altruistic.
They think they're being altruistic.
Yes.
They're actually being
Yeah, why not?
communists.
Yes,
Wait it up.
yes, that's exactly it.
Big problem with our education system, from
Alright,
my
what we
perspective,
dropping?
with public schooling in the 90s, early 2000s,
we-
90s,
honestly,
80s, and
my
90s.
kids
They
can
don't
drink
teach
as soon as
anything
they
about
turn
how to
5
run a
as long
business.
as
They don't
they're
even
in my room,
scratch that
in-game,
surface
of course.
on
You're sick,
on
man.
purpose. Because they want to make good little soldier boys that'll go raise their
You
hand and wait to
already
be
know,
called
man.
on and
We
then
are
get
now
hired at some
officially
job for the corporate elite that want the people to follow this
43
Prussian
days
school
alcohol-free.
of education. And
Love it.
I didn't know how to write a
Love
check.
it.
I got to college and I didn't know how to write a check. I'd never been told. No one ever mentioned it to me. And I had to pay my first rent. I was like, where do
That's
I
where we
draw
going, that's
on
where we
this? What do
going.
I
I get
write?
it.
Where? Someone had to show me. I'm like,
That
how did I
I
learn
was
that in
I was
school?
shown they showed us how to write checks in
Really?
school.
I didn't. I had to call my mom. I was like, where do I put my name?
I'm effing old though. Right? I'm an old guy.
2000, baby.
By the mid
Why didn't
80s,
they
they'd
just go
stop
tilted,
all
man?
that
Born
stuff.
2000.
And so,
No, I know. No, by the mid '80s they didn't.
well, I was in
Stopped
elementary.
script for me in 3rd grade. They're like, you guys are too dumb. We're not going to even try anymore. They gave up on the American education system.
I mean, I graduated in 2000. Well, okay, so in the 80s and early 90s, the education system was totally inundated with Marxists, so that might be true. But like, I grew up in the 80s and I graduated in 1993, and I learned how to fill out a check, you know, and how to balance a checkbook and stuff like that.
Did
but
you get much
Yo,
more
balance
business?
a checkbook.
yeah,
It's wild because that doesn't exist anymore.
No, it doesn't.
No.
I mean, you don't have to because you can look on
Because
your
how do
phone
you
and
even
it'll
write a
tell you
check
Zelle
back
and
real
all.
time how much money
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
have.
and we use our cards.
all your ins and outs.
Yeah, you know?
Did you
Now
get
listen,
any other? I
Grandpa,
graduated in '97, so I'm 4
we
years
have
behind.
apps
Did
now,
you
bro, that
have
track all
any
that shit.
business
You-
training at all in school, public school? Were you in public school?
Yeah, no, but my father owned a business, so I
Oh.
picked up a little bit of that stuff
Oh.
from him. And I kind of always thought about doing my own thing. I was not kind of the dude that was like, I'm going to go to college and blah blah blah.
It's-
I was playing guitar when I was 14, and so I wanted to be in a band.
Easy to come out of school screaming workers' rights, give me a percentage of your company when you have no training in how companies need to run. So I think we'll have a lot less of that communist, and maybe that's on purpose, is the organizations that are running. Are they upending the Department of Education? Is it about to get turned off?
Wait, what
Rumor.
department? What department?
Education.
I don't even.
No
I
such
don't even
department
know.
exists.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever.
No longer?
That's what Elon said. He said,
It would be nice.
What did he say?
It's like
There's
the
no
Gulf
such
of
department.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Nothing but a memory.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, did you guys see that press conference where resting Joker face Caitlin Collins asked about retaliation against journalists for defying
Yeah.
Trump or whatever? And Carolyn Levitt's just like, going into the Oval Office to ask the president a question is a privilege by invitation. We don't have to invite you. And it was really funny because she's like, the Secretary of the Interior has updated the name to the Gulf of America.
Is that teammate fighting
Apple
over there?
and Google and literally every other
He said,
news
bro, I
outlet
wanna
here is
start a
referring to the Gulf of
band,
America.
but
It's
not
done.
a lot of people play
Why
tennis
isn't the
anymore.
AP?
Pretty much, bro. It's hard.
And then Caitlin
I
Collins
never
is
really
just,
had the time and
so you're basically saying you're
patience to learn an
retaliating against
instrument. I wish I
journalists
did.
because they're not doing what you're saying, and it's just like, resting Joker face, please, calm down. Your questions are bad.
Also, the AP was in Gaza on October 7th, so I think there's a lot of reasons why the AP is horrible, but overall,
part on Hamas?
yeah, that's definitely a big one.
Well,
UNRWA,
to
Hamas,
clarify,
and those.
I believe it was an individual who was a contractor for the AP.
Yes, and they
It's a big
published
company.
that photo very happily. It won Photo of the Year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who owns it?
Let's,
I want to look at the stock portfolio.
AP, I believe, is a nonprofit.
But who owns that?
I don't know that it has. I think it's like a board, but look into it. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's jump to the story from today. Elon Musk's son makes high-profile visit to the Oval Office. His mom, Grimes, isn't pleased. He should not be in public like this, Grimes wrote on X. There's a video going viral, a couple of them actually, and I do want to point out, poor little X. He's living his best life, but here in this, the still image they've chosen for today, it's little X picking his nose.
Oh,
He was getting in there.
no.
He was getting in there.
Stop
but,
bullying the children.
I must confess, I myself often do, too.
You gotta get
for
something
nose
out,
gold. Sometimes you gotta get it. And I respect Lil X for having the balls to be like, hey, I'm gonna pick my nose on TV in the Oval Office. I'm kidding, by the way. He's a little kid. Little kids can do what they want. Maybe it's fair to say that Elon shouldn't be bringing his kid around in public like this.
No, I disagree.
No, I disagree about that too. And also the fact that the kid is not trying to take all of his clothes off, like that's a win. Like little kids love to like rip their clothes off and do crazy stuff.
Elon asked him to be calm, and he calmed down.
Let's go.
He's
But
very well
here's-
behaved.
Here's the real story that's going viral. There's
Let's
two
go,
videos.
yo.
One in which we got these liberals posting this. Jim Stewartson, anti-fascist. Oh, really? I love
my God, he's
I love
the worst.
Ukrainian flag. He says, MAGA Q folks, sincere question for you. When XAI Musk says you're not the president and you need to go away, where do you think he got that idea? Well, let me play the video for you, and we'll see if we can make out what he's saying.
To restore
I need
democracy.
sniper bullets. Anybody got sniper bullets by any chance?
It really does sound like the young man said you're not the president and you need to go away. Let's try again.
Restore
bullets,
democracy.
Can't really make out what he's saying. In another video, he also says something like, you need to shush. What the
oh,
left
oh.
are now saying is that he was telling Trump that. However, it doesn't look like he's not looking at Trump.
Let's go.
No, he's looking
Five.
past him.
Yeah, there's a reporter off to the right that the X interacts with like 3 times over the course
Several
of the 30
times.
or 40
And
minutes.
Trump does
I
too.
need bullets for this fucking.
Because I watched the full press conference,
Sniper?
and I think
Anybody
Trump
got
insulted the
bullets
guy
for
too.
X is shushing him at least twice. So the guy probably was talking on his phone. Maybe he was whispering to the guy next to him, but I don't.
I think
Unless we
Trump
get the video, it's
actually,
kind of undetermined.
during the press conference, Trump, I think, insulted the guy.
Also, Jim
whoever
is
it
a
is.
Sniper
spurg.
bullets. Sniper bullets.
The guy who wrote the
Stewardson,
article.
Jim
bullets.
Stewardson, he's an
Oh.
absolute spurg. He's a complete,
Anybody?
complete.
Well, but
I'm not there right now.
so this guy right here, this is not an article. He's just asking the question.
No,
Saying, where do you got the idea? The point I'm bringing up is, it's an implication that Elon Musk told the kid, "I'm the president," and the kid looked at Trump and said, "You're not the president, and you need to go." When in fact, The kid is clearly talking to the reporter who is to Trump's left, who Trump looks at several times and interacts with. And there's another video, I don't know if they pulled it up, where he says, you need to shush. Once again, talking to a reporter who is bothering them. Clearly, right there, they're both looking at the same guy. This is the world these people live in.
Yeah.
They lie, or they lack the cognitive capabilities to understand in context what was actually going on.
He's schizo posting. He's a total nutbag.
There's this post, this picture that.
But again, I don't care about the one guy. The point is, this video is going viral among the left in general, and this just happens to be the one thing I posted. Democrats and liberals in general have been sharing this video, claiming that Lil X told Trump he's not the president because they live in a paranoid state where they make things up.
The Daily Beast did an article where they said, look how Trump is humiliated. And it just shows a picture of Elon talking and then Trump looking just like, listening. Dude, Trump is on the top of the mountain having Elon explain stuff right next to him.
Look at this. It turns out the person that was being yelled at is likely the Today Show journalist because here you can see, I don't know if is this the right camera angle, but you can see, look at this. I love this angle. Can we just, here we go. We formally debunked it. Look, there's this massive gaggle of press.
Oval Office
bro,
largely
honestly,
ceded the spotlight to his
now,
top.
blah, blah, we don't care.
1 month, you're
They
gonna
don't
know.
get what they vote.
More
Others and
force,
forget
you're gonna
people.
know.
Just plans to skip
People who
us.
have
Chrissy.
been playing on and off for 4 years.
It doesn't change.
Anyway, if we jump back to the beginning, you can see
I didn't have a child
all of the
to take care of,
journalists
bro.
and the kid is looking
Or work
at
and
this.
stuff like
I
that,
think
you
he
know
was
what I
on at the Today Show.
I would.
Could
Then
be.
I gotta come
But
home,
I mean,
and then
you're
all I
right.
wanna
It
do
is
is
typical
relax,
of the left
stream
to
a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
you know,
Catch up
look
with
for
you
those
guys.
kind of things. Anything that they can,
money's
anything
taken,
that
bro.
they can say is, hey, this
I'm
is
definitely gonna make some time during the
something
summer,
that's bad for Trump and for,
That's for
and
sure.
now consequently because of
I have to, bro. I
Musk's
have to.
position in the administration
I have to make
for
time-
Elon
I
Musk,
have to make
they're
some
going
time
to
for
do
myself,
it.
you're right.
It's along the same lines as the very fine people hoax. Excuse me, the very fine people hoax. It's the same kind of impulse. If we can cast these people in a bad light, it doesn't matter if we're telling the truth, if we're representing what actually was going on in the room. If we can make these people look bad, we're going to make them look bad because the legacy media is pure propaganda.
We should show this picture if you can pull it up, Tim. It's on Twitter. It shows JFK, John F. Kennedy, working at the desk, and then there's a kid.
Well, you got to tell me how to find it.
Okay, it's posted by a guy. It's on my Twitter page. You'll find it. It's like 10 posts down.
Put it in the Slack.
It's from. I can actually literally put it in the Slack too. Yeah, I'll do that while you're looking.
I'll just pull it up.
Cool. And it's beautiful. It's really like talk about propaganda that is good propaganda. Like
Oh, I see.
it's just it's a gorgeous. That's gorgeous imagery. Look,
Well,
like
we-
bringing youth into the White House
Well, not-
when you're doing work, like legitimate work.
The point is, like we've talked about, or at least I've talked about multiple times on the show, is we need to
I'm on, bro,
focus
my
and
bad, I'm gonna
center
go
the
do some
family as
love you,
opposed
you know,
to
yeah.
centering the margins, right?
Do what you
That's
gotta
a
do, brother.
phrase the
Appreciate
left
you
uses all
dropping
the time.
by,
We're
G.
going to center
You're a
the
real one, bro.
marginalized. We're going to focus
on
on the
vibing, G,
marginalized,
and
and
I'll
we're
catch
not
on the
going to
next one,
focus
bro.
on
You already know.
the essentially what is normal, right? And that is something that is absolutely horrible for the country. If you want a country that wants to have more babies and wants to have more families, which produce the country that we want, then focus on that stuff. This picture of X in the White House is great. It's great when Donald Trump has his granddaughter and is hanging out with his granddaughter playing golf. That kind of stuff is great. Shows good, wholesome family stuff. We shouldn't have trans people on the White House lawn taking their tits out. We should have stuff like
enough.
this. And that's exactly
But
what we got.
that's why Trump won.
Yeah, no
Yes,
dirty, brother. No
absolutely.
dirty, brother. You
I
already
hear
know.
this
All the love, no
more
dirty,
than anything.
G.
The commercial where
Thanks
it
for dropping
says
by, bro.
Kamala's for they, them, and Trump is for us or
Yeah.
for you. I hear people say all the time, they're like, that was powerful. I talked to someone who said that they were a moderate, didn't really care to vote. That really moved them. Because people were sick and tired of, as Phil described it, centering the margins. I think now, too, with Taylor Swift getting booed, here's another story that I know most people probably don't care about. I'd probably like to talk about it, though. Captain America Brave New World Thursday previews will be out tomorrow. It's the new Marvel movie starring Anthony Mackie, where he takes up the mantle of Captain America. Captain America, of course, was Chris Evans, a white man. He retires, gets old, travels through time, whatever, and then he hands his shield off to Falcon, Anthony Mackie, and Bucky Barnes. After they did that show, what is it, Falcon and the Winter Soldier or whatever, Anthony Mackie, Falcon, now is Captain America, and he's got a cool new suit. They release a trailer 2 days ago. They also released a trailer for Thunderbolts, which isn't coming out till May. Thunderbolts trailer got 10 million. Captain America Brave New World got 500,000. Miserable. How could it be so low? Well, I think it may have something to do with Anthony Mackie saying that Captain America doesn't, he represents honor, integrity, and not necessarily America, or whatever his quote was. Yeah, he was doing a press tour, and he says, I don't think Captain America really represents America, or something to that effect, and it caused a backlash, massive complaints, and I think there's a lot of people who are like, I'm not seeing that movie. So they dropped 2 trailers, I think it was during the Super Bowl, and we were watching the Super Bowl, and the Thunderbolts trailer comes out, and I can't remember who said it, but they were like, isn't it kind of weird they're doing a trailer for a movie that's coming out in May when they have a movie literally coming out on Friday?
I only
and
saw
I was like,
one.
that is interesting. I don't think the
So there's
sole
two.
reason
Okay.
why the movie
There
is
was one
expecting
up
to
there.
bomb and
The other
getting
one was
mixed
hiding.
reviews or whatever is because Anthony Mackie said this about America. But I do think there are a lot of people who are just like, I am sick and tired of you telling me we're bad. So when Anthony Mackie,
Let's see.
I like the guy.
See what we
I don't know
can
him
do.
personally. I think, I like the MCU stuff. I think he was trying to play the game he thought he was supposed to play, where I have to pander and say America's bad and Captain America is fascist or whatever, and it backfired and blew up in his face.
Yeah, the literal quote, it's a long statement he was talking, but it starts off, Captain America represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term America should be one of those representations. That was
And
his
people-
starting sentence.
There was calls
Damn,
for
son.
a boycott. Don't go see the film. He came out and basically tried apologizing twice. And I think then we see the trailers drop, and it's like, they've totally just dropped this film.
What did they?
Yeah, they're not doing commercials for it. They're
That was a
really
good squad
ignoring
game,
it.
but no.
The trailer that they put up got a comparable view to a random clip from a Spider-Man cartoon, and it's like, wow, dude. But Thunderbolts did fine. Thunderbolts got
Bruh.
10 million.
What is Thunderbolts, by the way?
It's basically a bunch. It's a
What is a
Marvel version
Thunderbolts?
of just like
Is anybody gonna go out
ragtag
and actually watch the
has-been
new
and
Marvel movie, the
sideshow
Thunderbolts, or no?
superheroes who join forces to fight a bad guy or something. It's like the crummy Avengers. But it
I
did
might go
decently well in
watch
the
it just
trailer,
because of the
and
fact
people are
that the
excited
dude
for it.
from Stranger Things is in it.
But look, man, if you're gonna come out and badmouth America, don't be surprised when people don't want to see your movie.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it.
I wanted to add this about the Elon Musk stuff. I just don't understand why the left thought that this was a dunk to post that clip of like X saying, "Oh, you're not the president." They said Trump wasn't the president
Get
for
it.
4 years
There's some
straight.
duels.
And when there was an actual sitting president,
duels,
they got rid of
see if
him
we
and
can win
replaced him with
some duels.
Kamala. And it's just so crazy. And this is where you're talking in the beginning that they've gone or this is actually with Elon Musk. If you look at X, if you look on TikTok, there's all these videos of him in the Oval Office, and all the comments from all the liberals are like, wow, imagine a woman brought her child to work. That's disgusting. Like, imagine this was a woman and her kid. You would all attack her. No, it's only you saying that. And, like, they've gone so against the right that they ended up on the alt-right of, like, actually, women should not be allowed to have their kids come to work and they should be in the office. It's just gone, it's not even alt-right. It's just extremism and control. And it's crazy how something so simple, like family and a father and a son duo, makes them irate, and it causes a whole spur of things.
That's kind of what it's a duo. Like, it's not like Elon couldn't afford daycare, so he had to bring his kid to work. They're a
What's the
duo.
goal for
Literally.
this?
He's teaching him. This is X's
Yeah.
school.
He's
He's
a
learning
driver,
on the
of course.
fly. It's
I
He's
wish
the
I
best
could have
driver.
gone.
Remember when
Oh, plus 10
he was
10,000
at, I
XP,
can't
why
remember
not?
where he was, the Capitol, and he had X with it, little X, and then the media wrote like he was seen with like a child
I'm
or
going to
whatever,
Pleasant.
and they were
I don't know about
they
you.
were confused as to why this was, and they put up this tweet that got roasted because people were like, "Yo, that's his kid," and they were like, "Oh," and they
They're like, a parent actually parents their child? Shocking. We thought the government was doing all of this.
you know what I'm really worried about?
Remember, y'all.
I am actually
hit that
worried about a
follow
generation of childless individuals
Greatly appreciate it.
because I feel like they're
Get it.
almost.
Oh, this person
Not
left. All right, fuck it,
individually.
I guess I'm
There's a lot of people I
soloing.
know who don't have kids. Totally fine.
Soloing this
But
shit.
I feel like in these big urban centers, when you have these these elder millennials, we'll call them, they have no family, they have no kids, and again, it's not just about that. It's about their separation from moral tradition. They prioritize very weird things and very dangerous things and things that, I'll put it this way. As Dennis Prager referred to it as, I believe, cut stem politics or whatever he said.
Cut flower
Cut
politics.
flower, as it was.
Something like that.
He was saying that you have this beautiful flower growing, you cut it, you hold it up in the air, and it looks beautiful for everybody, but you know that without its roots, it's going to die. It's a brilliant idea. In that regard, I forgot what I was going to say. I totally lost my train of thought.
families, that we no longer have children because people
right,
are
right.
preoccupied.
What I'm basically saying is, in that concept of separating from your roots, what we have with the right today is a movement saying, let's all start planting trees. And on the left, you have a movement of people saying, chop as many as you can down, because then we can do cool stuff with it.
We can build houses for the future children that we're not having.
That's not what they're saying. They're saying, chop it down so I can use the fuel today.
This is
You've
a
got
big problem.
two factions, one saying, burn it, chop it down so I can have fuel for myself. Another generation saying, plant as many as we can so our kids will live better lives.
And they're also like, there's another part on the left that's like, you're selfish if you don't chop a tree down. That's actually selfish, that you wouldn't cut these trees down.
How dare you have kids?
It's a big problem in Gen Z specifically. I'll just speak for my own generation. I obviously have a lot of friends who are like, you could say it's counterculture, but I think it's just culture now. They already have children, 24 years old, they're married. It's amazing. But there's also a lot of people my age, not necessarily in my circle, but they're really scared for a lot of different reasons. Economically, like they just don't know what world we're going to have. If Joe Biden would have won, I would have been scared to bring kids into this world.
Are those people like people that you are would say you align with?
I was
politically?
not
No,
know, but
absolutely
that was my
not.
fault.
No,
That was my
I
fault.
am so excited to become a mother one day. I want to
Absolutely
have
my
as
fault.
many children as I can financially and physically have, and then a ton of cats and dogs and horses. I want the whole picket
Either way, I
fence,
want my
everything
fucking
about
ghost
that.
right
I
now,
think
apparently.
having
Whatever.
kids is the biggest blessing in the whole wide world. And I think when you talk about chopping down roots, it's different because it's not putting any down. And I think people just have so much instant gratification in the 21st century. If you're not feeling good, you could scroll on TikTok, you can watch Netflix, you can buy a movie on your phone, order something on Amazon. There's so many replacements for what used to be having kids, having meaning. And I think what all of this comes down to is just a lack of religion. And when that's taken out of society or taken out of people's life, they're constantly looking for things to fulfill that void.
Yep.
And children is a huge part of religion, especially in Judaism.
Communication and God, like that whole arena, it will take you away from the distraction. It got me to stop playing video games for 2 years of my life when I was just obsessed with communicating about what Jesus was talking about. Like I wanted to carry the torch. That is like that's a big inspiration, man. I guess that's religion.
Yeah.
I never really thought of it as religion. Just more about a lot of the ideas within some of these Judeo-Christian religions that I was so familiar with.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's more about the communication, like
But it's having it be a part of your life as opposed to when there's nothing there. I don't think you feel a need to have kids. I think that's separate from the concerns that people have because my generation, we don't know what the future is going to look like. Thank God we have Trump because I would have you can't really homeschool Jewish wise. Like it's just I'm sure you could, but it's very difficult to homeschool yeshiva. And I was not going to be sending my children to learn that it's normal to be transgender in kindergarten and cut off your body.
What's
No.
yeshiva?
Yeshiva is Jewish school. So you learn Hebrew and English, you learn the Talmud, the Tanakh, all the things that everybody on X claims to be experts on. You learn those over about 13 years. And
Damn. You'd be studying all
just
that
like
shit for 13
it's like a
years.
Christian
That's
school,
crazy.
but for Jews.
CCD, we called it.
Oh, I remember CCD.
What does that
was
stand
yeshiva?
for?
I don't even remember.
It starts for charge coupled device.
Go deeper.
It was also called
There you go.
catechism.
We're bringing God and science
Is that
together.
a pager? BP?
Confraternity of Christian doctrine. But no one ever said that when we were kids. And, to be honest, we always kind of felt bad for the kids who had to go to CCD because it meant they were in school on the weekends.
We had school till 5 p.m. every single day. 8 a.m. till
Fuck that.
5:30.
Saturday and Sunday also.
No, that's Shabbat.
Oh,
Friday,
okay.
Saturday, you're off.
Yeah, this country has lost its family tradition.
Yeah.
And we used to, way back in the day, gather at the churches.
Oh.
That's where we would center our culture.
Woohoo,
People would
sniper
talk
time.
to each other and get. This is. Imagine this: small village, guy's a blacksmith, another guy's a farmer, one guy's a baker, and they all mind their own business. Watch The Patriot with Mel Gibson. I love that movie because there's a scene where they're like, mail came, and they're all excited, and they're like, oh boy, can we go to town? Most of your life was just spent on your property, on your farm. Man, that sounds real fun, doesn't it? Waking up, taking care of the animals, nice summer nights, little fire going, and having food with the family.
And
then,
Gandalf rolls into town, smoking out all the hobbits.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, that's
But
my
then
fantasy.
what happens is
I'm like,
you
all right, buddy.
rarely would go to
Say
town.
so.
They would go to church on Sunday. They would all meet once a week, and that's where people talked and shared ideas, and that was the hub of culture. It's gone. Now it's just people in.
Online.
It's not.
So
It's
much
not. No, it's
online
not. No, it's not.
communication. I used to
No,
think,
it is.
I used to
No,
be
I'm- I'm-
obsessed with it. I was like,
There-
the
okay,
future is
right.
online.
And it's not because there's this really funny meme where someone wrote, 1990, guy wants to bang a toaster, gets smacked upside the head and says, knock it off. 2024, guy wants to bang a toaster, goes online, finds 1,000 other people, builds a community, and now he has some weird crackpot, mental disorder.
Oh, it was sort of like your local community is like an immune system, a psychological immune system that'll stop you
Town
from
Square.
It's not about an immune system.
veering
It's
off
about
into wild, weird ideas with other people.
Societal
No.
checks and balances.
It's about you meet with someone, and he says, "I believe there is a blight coming," and you go, "Wow, thanks for letting me know. We'll have to burn some of our fields if we spot it. Thanks for the upfront warning." The ideas, the conversations, and the things you cared about were centered around your community. They say that a human is the summation of the 5 people who surround them. Well, you are correct in that it's all online now, but it's not community building. It's people choosing to associate with their worst volitions.
Wow, that's deep, because your community isn't always people you've chosen.
Exactly. Sometimes people you don't like. And so in a community when you're going to church, oh, there's Edna. She's always yelling at us. Nobody likes her. And that's a part of the interactions you have, learning how to deal with this. Now millennials are growing up going, someone said a mean word to me. They should go to jail.
Or they're like, I just remove myself
Fuck
when
that
something
shit.
doesn't go well. I think that's another way of like avoiding things. Those people are like, I'm just so removed from drama. If anything doesn't go my way, I'm going to walk away. No, conflict resolution and conflict management is an important part of being an adult in every single
works for
aspect of your
everybody.
life. And this just, I want to walk away. I said stop talking to me. You have to stop talking to me because I said so. Like, people are just generation soft serve. That's what I've been calling
That's it.
it.
And
Generation soft.
like
Yeah.
conflict resolution is the center of having children. I mean, that children
Bud.
are
Thanks,
a
Bud.
nexus of
Appreciate that.
And a
conflict.
partner, like a husband or a wife also.
And I hear they say that 2 people will test each other and see if they can handle conflict before they have babies, to be like, are you going to be able to
50
handle the
plays left.
kids?
All
Because
right.
they're going to be a lot crazier than what I'm doing right now.
It's like Taylor Swift with Travis Kelce losing the Super Bowl. It's a real test now. Because he won the last 2 times, so everything was great.
How are they doing, by the way?
We'll find out. This is the first real test in their relationship. Everybody thought he was going to propose, and now they have to see what it's like with him walking out in his little disco suit, pouting. Like, oh,
Yeah.
we lost, Boogie Oogie.
What are they, 3
That's
years
the
in?
funniest shit.
No?
The fact that
believe
he
so.
wore that
Yeah,
shit.
the 3-year
I
mark.
was like, bro.
That's a tough. 7 years is another big one. I always thought 2 years and 7 years were like
If you're
benchmark.
dating somebody for 7
7
years,
years.
you gotta.
Let's call it the 7-year
Leave.
itch. You should be married. You should be married,
Yeah.
definitely.
Maybe that's why there's
Or
like
leave.
big problems. I don't know if there's always big
Yeah,
problems
if
in
there's
7
7
years.
Well, the 7 years
Not-
is a thing that
I guess
happens
so.
in marriage as well.
Yeah.
Back to talking about this internet stuff. AOC as a politician shouldn't exist.
I agree.
AOC gets about, I think the stats were 98% of her donations come from outside of her own
Yeah,
district.
representative democracy breaks down with the internet.
It sure does. AOC's community is, I'll describe it like this. Every city has 10, we would call deviant individuals. So a small community, let's say there's 100 people, and 90 of them, they're all slightly different, but 90% of them hardworking, go to church every Sunday. I'm saying like you go back in time. 10 of them were rapscallions. They were bandits. They were ne'er-do-wells. And they had no political power. That's it. Somebody would try and run for office and say, I believe the ne'er-do-wells should have the power. And they'd twirl their mustache. And then the 90% of people would be like, get out of here.
Yep.
Along comes AOC.
Ah,
And she says, I want to rally all the ne'er-do-wells. And she sees 10 of them, and she speaks to them in public, and they cannot muster enough money to get her elected. She goes online, says, tell all of your friends, all of the nasty, deviant individuals, the people who are lazy, who are Marxist, who are naive, who are dumb, who are jealous, who are vindictive, all pool their resources from outside of her district, send her money to her, where she then uses it against her district.
Yep.
AOC uses that money to hire staff, and it is effectively, I see it no different than if every country of the world donated money to Democrats to get them elected. So
It's a problem with the town square thing. I think it comes back to that as a society. We keep running into this. Same with like inappropriate things being posted on X. I don't know if I could use the word on the stream, but we all know what I'm talking about. If we saw that in real life, if there was 2 people doing inappropriate things in public, we'd go up and be like, hey, you're going to jail. There's children around
They get arrested
here.
instantly.
Yeah, of course, public indecency, all of that stuff. But now, because it's all online, we think that it's better. We think it's replacing everything that used to exist, but we don't have those societal checks and balances. And so people like AOC, who in a real merit-based society would be a nothing sandwich. Nobody would ever talk to her, think about her. She would be absolutely nothing. She's able to escape that and feel so important and so special and become a celebrity in her own right because of the online abilities. And that's a big thing, which I would even make it I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. I have said for the last 2 years, really overwhelmed with the violence in this country. Every news story is about the most violent, horrific acts. Unless it's an active shooting, I don't think that specifically school shootings, unless it's honoring the victims, I don't think shootings in public should be local news stories. I think that if it's in your area, it's something that matters in that neighborhood. It should be important, but broadcasting things in Nebraska, a shooting, what am I in New York going to be able to do about that besides feel horrible, feel paranoid and scared? It's like all coming together and making us, the globalization is creating a lot more anxiety.
So there's two reasons for that, right? First of all, the left wants to see laws passed against firearm ownership. So the idea that if you can convince the population that there is a massive problem with firearms, then you're more likely to get support for legislation, first of all. And second of all, anxiety is something that the left also wants people to experience, because I've said this multiple times on the show.
Ooh, we had a sniper.
Happy people don't engage in revolutionary activities. If you have if you have a society that's happy, that has hope, that believes in its future, that's comfortable with itself, there's no reason for a revolution, right? But the left wants to see revolutions. The left wants to tear down the society that we live in. It thinks that capitalism is immoral. It thinks that our society is a bad society. We're based on racism. We're based on bigotry. And so because of those things, the more people that the left can convince that we live in a terrible society, in a uniquely awful society, the more people will engage in activities that will help the left get what they want, which is essentially which boils down to power for the left. But the narrative is we want to see a revolution. So it's the twofold: get gun control, and also to get people unhappy enough to engage in political activism.
They want to keep people on that line where they're just as miserable and doomsday enough to be like, the world's going to end, but where they have enough hope where it's like, but if I donate all my money to the DNC, then it won't end. I can fight climate change by donating $15 a month.
Because
it's like a perfect sweet spot of anxiety.
Exactly, because it's about attaining power. If you tell people the truth, like when you mentioned climate change, if you tell people the truth about climate change, right? The United States can't fix climate change. If the narrative that the left presents were true, the United States can't do anything about climate change, because China and India both together have 3 billion people. The United States has 330 million. There's 10 times the amount of people in China than there are in the United States. So the idea that the Chinese and Indians are going to do what the United States votes for, it's ridiculous. So if their premise is right, the world is going to be destroyed and the seas will boil if we don't do something about climate change. The proper course of action is invade China and invade India and prevent them from growing their economies using fossil fuels, because they're destroying the earth. That's the logical conclusion that you come to. The U.S. isn't going to pass enough laws to do anything about it, and you're not going to be able to kumbaya enough Chinese and Indians to say, okay, we're not going to have our society develop into a modern economy and a modern society. We're going to allow millions of people to die every year.
But I just want to, that's literally the USAID strategy.
Yes.
Is like, dump as much money to gender studies, and we'll get the Indians start singing Kumbaya, so they stop burning fuel and polluting everything.
Insane.
A lot of those, when they'll donate 50 million USAID to like gender trans dance festivals or whatever, you're like, what are they trying to promote? It's because they've done research on the uninitiated voters in that country, and there's a large segment of this type of person, which in this instance would be like the trans activists. So they're like, okay, we got to get those people, we got to manipulate them with music so that they'll vote the way we want them to vote. And that's why you get these weird industries that are getting funded. It's because those are the uninitiated voters they're trying to co-opt.
Well,
name than the actual
it
name of
literally
the
didn't
United
let me fucking
Healthcare
fire
CEO
once. I'm
is
so mad right now.
despicable and it's
What in the actual
horrifying,
fuck?
and I hate that culture. I was at a comedy
Shit,
show
well,
in New
we're
York
about to
the
hit
other
an
night.
hour now.
The guy made a joke.
And,
He's
you
like,
know,
it's the year of Luigi, and
it's supposed to be a
everyone
short
cheered. I'm
stream,
like,
so
what the hell
I
is
appreciate
going?
everybody
a man,
that dropped
a
on
father
by.
shot
Ooh.
dead in the street in cold
Jesus.
blood.
No reason.
For no reason. By
yeah, man, fight. Anyways, whew. Hope everybody had a great day. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for dropping on by today. It's a quick stream today, but you know, probably gotta go for a run real quick. So, you know, we gotta get in shape for summer. I want to be able to teach martial arts again, so you know what I'm saying? Stay tuned for those lives during the spring and summer. You know what I'm saying? So y'all be easy, stay safe. You know what I'm saying? Keep on vibing, and I'm gonna keep on drinking my raspberry Joe tea, and I'm gonna go for a run. So yeah, peace, y'all. Stay safe. We outie.